It's time for a rambly discussion video. Yay! I had originally intended to do my Pop Sugar reading challenge this week, and I was just really bored when I was filming it, and I was like, oh, but I have to put it out. And then I thought, why do I have to put it out? I don't have to put that out if I don't want to. I'm not getting paid for this. So instead, I want to talk about something that's been in the back of my head for a while. And I'm going to try not to give out spoilers, but if you notice the title, you know what I'm talking about. That is, I am kind of over happy endings, which sounds really cynical when you say it out loud. But what I mean by that is, I am over happy endings as being the de facto given ending in a book. I would like to get to the point where I can't be sure if the ending is going to be happy. And there's a variety of reasons for this. But I don't have any notes with me, hence why this is going to be rambly, because I still want to put something out today, so we're just going to talk. I noticed this the last couple of books I've read without happy endings, is that there's something a lot of the times more satisfying to them. And what I mean by that is there's some problems set up where you literally can't make a happy ending work. And let me see if I can find it here. Aha. One example of this, and I hope I'm not ruining this for anyone that came out in like 2014. There's been a TV series, but The Zoo by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge does not have a happy ending. It has kind of a, I guess you could call it open-ended ending, but a happy ending wouldn't have worked for this book at all. This book involves a global crisis where all the animals in the world are turning on humans in unprecedented ways, and you could not have wrapped that up, at least not in a single book, with any kind of real weight to it. If you'd have been like, oh yeah, 400 pages later, oh, not even. Everything's fine now. Don't worry about it. All the animals are good. All the world is happy. Like, that would have been kind of lackluster. It would have been like, oh great, someone was so obsessed with having that happy ending that they sacrificed the entire point of the story. And so in some cases it just makes sense. The book I read recently, no, actually, you know what? I was going to talk about that one, but that one isn't published yet, so I'm going to give you guys a chance to read that one first. I'm not used to reading books before they're published. I'm not used to reading books the same year they're published, so I'm not used to having any book in the back of my mind that hasn't been read by the majority of people that want to read it. So we're going to skip that one. And I won't even tell you what it is, so you won't even know what book I've read published this year that's going to have a not so happy ending. But another reason that I enjoy, appreciate less than ideal endings is it makes the tension of the book that much deeper. For example, if you've read one of the back of the many serial killer storybooks, so you have your standard detective is chasing this serial killer, and then there's usually some part of the synopsis where it's like, will the protagonist be the serial killer's next victim? Real talk. When you've read that, will the protagonist be the killer's next victim, have you ever actually wondered, oh my gosh, will they? Like, has it ever actually crossed your mind that the protagonist may actually be killed by the serial killer they're chasing? Because personally, no. I read that sentence or that question and I'm like, of course he's not the protagonist. This is a basically happy book. They might, if the author is feeling spicy, they might get like a bullet to the arm, or a deep cut. You know, they might get some non-life-threatening injury that will then be healed later. Maybe if they're feeling like super into it, they may actually lose like a finger. Like, most of the time when you read this, will the serial killer make the protagonist their next victim? It's a given no. Because so many of the endings have that. They don't kill off the protagonist. They don't even have the protagonist lose a serious major body part. No protagonist becomes paraplegic because of the killer, and they don't really even lose anything more than a finger or a toe. Like, they may lose a romantic interest. That's about the biggest. You may lose like a friend or your partner or spouse, but you're not going to lose the actual protagonist. So as a result, that deep, tense question is pointless. We all know that he's not going to. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't mean necessarily the protagonist to die, but like, maybe lose a foot. How to Train Your Dragon did it, and it was awesome. I loved that moment. That's a spoiler, but I feel like that movie's been out long enough now. It's also a book. Did he lose his foot in the book? Now I'm curious. But my point is that, like, if the protagonist comes out the other end of this huge battle against big bad villain and is actually physically different in a way that will affect the rest of their lives, that makes the battle moving forward that much more important. Otherwise, it's just a sea of ineffective serial killers that are really good at murdering young blonde women, but suck at really doing anything else beyond that. Not that murdering blonde women isn't a big deal and a big bad thing. I'm just saying, the realm of fictional serial killers, they all universally suck at killing the protagonist chasing them. Just universally suck at that. They all seem to have that goal at some point in their lives, and they never, ever actually go through with it. This is really rambly. I don't even know if everyone's gonna like this video. This is something I've been thinking about a lot. I'm just really kind of over this everything is automatically happy. Give me a bittersweet story. Like, do I have it on my shelf? Somewhere, but I don't want to dig it out right now. When I read The Silence of Bonaventure Arrow, aka the book that wrecked me, it was a really sad ending because, again, it had to be, and it was the theme, you know, it was letting go and moving on, and so Ghost of Daddy Dearest had to move on, and they had to accept that he's just never coming back, and that's not a happy ending. It's a very weirdly heartwarming ending. It's a very bittersweet ending, but it fit, and in general, I just kind of want more books like that. The problem is that I really can't ask people for books like that, because if I ask for books like that, yeah, you inherently give away the ending when you mention it. Oh, let's do this. If you know of a book that has an unhappy ending, put it down in the comments below, along with 2 other books that have happy or happy-ish endings. Let's do like a weird bookish 2 truths and a lie. If anyone's even watching to this point. Again, this video is rambly-ish, kind of what I wanted to talk about. So in general, all of this to say, we need to be braver in writing books, in reading books. We need to be willing to accept that sad endings or imperfect endings, bittersweet endings, open-ended endings could fit the book better than the perfect, everything is wrapped up, everything is perfect, everyone has their love, everyone has their purpose endings. Because life isn't like that. And sometimes you just need to cope with the fact that this ended, it didn't end the way you wanted it to, and you just have to deal with that. I should say that I'm actually having a really good time in life right now. This isn't me, like, needing unhappy endings. Maybe I'm having such a good time in life, and that's why I don't need happy endings. I have enough happiness in my life that I can handle the sadness from books. I'll get into that later when I'm, next time I'm busy thinking to myself in the shower. I don't know. Thank you for hanging out, if you did, in this super rambly video. What are your thoughts on endings? Do you prefer them to all be happy, or would you prefer to see less happy ones? Would you like to see more open-ended, bittersweet, downer endings? And seriously, can we please talk about the ineffectiveness of serial killers at killing their rivals? Get good, serial killers. Come on. I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.